Welcome back to another gritty grown man conversation right here on Grit on the Rocks podcast. I am your host, David. And this is Grit on the Rocks podcast where we're men, even though women also listen to this. Welcome. Doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody can learn something, right? As I learn also, as I do these episodes, I learn. I get emails from listeners and I learn from them. And truth be told, sometimes the stories that they send me are what spark the idea for the episode. And this is one of those. So, we talk about life, leadership, legacy, and the things that some people don't say out loud or in polite company. But today we're unpacking a hard pill to swallow, one that a lot of men feel deep in their bones but rarely talk about. How modern fatherhood, sometimes, and I always say sometimes because again, I'm not making that blanket statement and I personally cannot identify with this, but I know some of you out there can, so let's talk about modern fatherhood and how it's a thankless job. Let's cut straight through the noise. This is Grit on the Rocks podcast.
This podcast is a Buenos Dias Media production.
This is the Grit on the Rocks podcast, where raw conversations meet smooth sips. Pull up a chair, pour your favorite drink, puff on your favorite cigar, and join us as we dive into the convos that matter. No scripts, no barriers, just unfiltered truth served straight up. Cheers to the real ones out there. Salud.
And we're back. This is Grit on the Rocks podcast. I'm your host, David. And today we're talking about modern fatherhood and how some may think, I guess I could put question mark, is it a thankless job? And like I said before, I can't identify with this because I gotta be honest, my children, my daughter is very small, but my adult son does show appreciation, and so does my wife, my spouse, right? My family do show appreciation towards me, but I do know that there are people out there, there's men out there that feel or go through things and actually live it, right? Where they feel that fatherhood has become a thankless job, right? So for you out there that can identify with this, listen up and share. And if you're just listening and you know someone that's probably going through this, you have a brother or a friend or a cousin or uncle, whatever it is, that might feel this way, share this with them. So before we begin, I want to encourage everyone, if you have a story you want to share, you have a topic you want to suggest, something for the segment of Whiskey Bar Wisdom or Barstool Banter, Hero of the Day, or you just want to say what's up, go to gritontheRocks.com. Scroll down to the bottom where it says contact us and send us your story, your message, your salutation, whatever it is. And if you're a brand that wants to sponsor one of our segments or the show or wants your logo featured on the website, also go to gritontheRocks.com, scroll down to the contact us section and send us your message. So you want to know what silent suffering looks like in 2025? Watch a father. Watch a man who's busting his ass to raise his kids, love his family, and be present in a culture that doesn't just ignore him, but punishes him for trying. This episode isn't about whining. This is about truth. Raw, uncomfortable truth. So let's break it down.
The views and opinions expressed by the host, guest, and/or participants of this show do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Buenos Dias Media LLC, its associates, partners, and show sponsors. The content is intended for entertainment purposes and should not be construed as professional advice. Listener discretion is advised.
Okay. So let's talk about the legacy trap. Every man fears one thing. One thing more than death is raising children who don't carry his name, his values, or even worse, even his blood. Legacy is our DNA scoreboard. It's why we build empires, work long hours, skip pleasures, and protect what's ours. But in 2025, there's a 30% chance, sadly, that a child isn't even biologically yours in a DNA test situation. And that's just among the men who actually get tested. That's terrifying, to be honest. I mean, imagine grinding for decades, pouring into your family, only to find out you were just the bank and babysitter for another man's kid. No refund, no justice, no accountability, just thanks, Dad. And that's not to say I'm not talking about stepfathers. I think stepfathers who truly step up are amazing. And stepmothers, obviously. I mean, step-parents, to love a child like he or she is yours without actually holding your DNA and walking into the situation knowing that, stepping up and loving them unconditionally, it is something that needs to be applauded, needs to be talked about more. I mean, I had a stepfather in my life. I mean, I still do to this day. We did have our gaps in time because my parents had split up, and then I think a decade later they got back together. But that's how life worked out for me. But I do say that, you know, a stepfather like my stepfather did, who stepped up, knowing I didn't have his DNA and loved me like I was his, is just an amazing job. It's just an amazing feature in a person that needs to be celebrated. And I do celebrate my stepdad because of that. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about those who raise a child. I mean, one of those we're talking about is, in this situation, we're talking about, you know, a father who thinks the child is his and finds out years later that he or she isn't. I mean, I don't have to say that it must be crushing, right? It must be heartbreaking for this person. Divorce is also a father's exile, right? Divorce court. Even if the kids are yours, divorce will likely take them away. The court doesn't care about your involvement. It doesn't matter that you changed diapers, that you coached baseball, football, or I don't know, gymnastics, and that you stayed faithful. In a divorce, most likely, she gets the house, she gets the kids, you get supervised visits, a lawyer bill, and a label that says non-custodial parent. You become a visitor in your own children's lives. And guess what? You're still expected to provide financially, emotionally, and mentally without being allowed to lead, guide, or even correct. You even scroll through Instagram, right? And fathers don't really get the spotlight. Mothers do, right? Fathers get stress. Mothers might get a spotlight. You know, you scroll through Instagram on Mother's Day and it's a Hallmark movie marathon. And, you know, moms are queens and warriors and miracle workers. And I'm not saying that they aren't, but not every mother automatically is those things. Meanwhile, on Father's Day, you might get a meme about grilling or some corny sock commercial. The mom who packed the lunchbox gets a viral praise, right? You got TikTok videos, they go viral. But in some cases, the dad who worked 2 jobs to pay for that lunchbox, he gets a nod, maybe. This world celebrates mothers for presence and punishes fathers for imperfection. You know, the system silences fathers. Here's the real kicker. And this is where the system gets dirty. You try to discipline your child. Now that's called trauma. You raise your voice. Now you're toxic. You set rules in your home. Now you're controlling. Kids come home and tell the school, Dad took my phone. Suddenly, you get a visit from Child Protective Services. So what do men do? They go silent. Some adopt an attitude of, well, it is what it is. I don't care anymore. And then they still get shitted on because of that. Well, this father's not doing what he's supposed to do. Not because they're weak, but because the system has weaponized fatherhood. You don't raise your kids anymore. You sponsor them. Teachers question you. Doctors second guess you. Judges don't even look you in the eye. The minute man asserts his role in the family, he's labeled as dangerous. And that's by design. They say, be involved. But the moment you correct, instruct, or lead, now you become a threat. And again, I have to say this again, and I'm going to keep saying it again and again. This is not every case. This is just obviously information gathered. It's based on statistics. It's based on stories. It's based on, just stories you see online, people you know, people who have dealt with these types of situations. But it doesn't mean that it's all fathers. It doesn't mean all fathers. Same thing I said about moms. I think moms are amazing. And yes, they have a very challenging job. But just because you gave birth doesn't mean that all moms are involved the same. They get praised the same. That's why it says that they get praised for presence. But not all moms are as involved as they make it seem to be. You see social media shows whatever you put on it. Doesn't mean that's the reality. And just like fathers, I've seen plenty of fathers who bang themselves in the chest and my kids, and they put them on social media and all that. And when in reality, they're not even involved in their kids' lives. That's why I say this doesn't apply to all, but those of you who can, right, identify themselves with this, well, this is for you. I said personally, I can identify with any of this, thankfully. But anyway, let's hear a quick word from one of our supporters before we continue with why we show up.
Looking to connect with like-minded men who share your drive for success and passion for the finer things in life? Welcome to the Apex Gentlemen's Guild, a private members club for men who value ambition, camaraderie, giving back, and personal growth. For a limited time while we're fully remote, you can join the guild for free. Gain access to tons of motivational content, exclusive events, insightful discussions, and a network of high-performance individuals. Don't miss this chance to elevate your social circle. Request to join today at facebook.com/groups/Apex Gentlemen's Guild, or give us a like at facebook.com/Apex Gentlemen's Guild. The Apex Gentlemen's Guild, excellence forged in unity.
And we are back with modern fatherhood and how some might consider it a thankless job. So out of everything I said, right, how we praise certain things of motherhood and forget about fatherhood, we talked about how disciplining our kids now has become a cause for trauma and how everyone wants to tell people how to parent, tell fathers how to be involved. And then again, when there is any divorce is a sad divorce. It's just sad to see how some people grow apart. Some people are just not what they seem. Some relationships, they get divorced because the other partner is abusive. There's a million and one reasons why divorces happen. And no matter what it is, I think it's always sad when people drift apart. People who are married and promise to love each other in sickness and health and rich or poor, and you know what I mean. Oh. So, yes, with all that, still some real fathers, and I'm speaking to the real fathers, because we all know there's a bunch of deadbeats also, but real fathers still show up. Not because they're applauded, not because it's easy, but because our DNA is coded for responsibility, even when the rewards are invisible. And again, there are the exceptions. You might never get a thank you. You might not get to walk your daughter down the aisle or be in your son's graduation photo. But real men build anyway. Not for credit, but because it's the right thing to do. And that, my friends, is grit. So, let's take a quick moment here to read up the email that actually inspired this topic with some whiskey bar wisdom.
Whiskey bar wisdom. Ooh.
All right, there's nothing magical about it. Here, drink this. Tell me what's on your mind. Come on.
Whiskey bar wisdom. You provide the stories, we provide the opinions. Unprofessional advice and the laughter. Grit on the Rocks podcast.
All right, so this whiskey bar wisdom message comes to us from Terrence up in Ohio. And it says, "Hey, David and the Grit on the Rocks crew. Thank you for all the topics you guys talk about. Thanks for the laughs, but also thank you for the moments where we reflect on ourselves. I have something that I think would be worth discussing. I've got 2 daughters, been divorced for 3 years. I pay child support, show up every weekend, attend school meetings, but still get treated like I'm just a visitor. Their mom blocks every suggestion I make, but still expects me to fund everything. I feel invisible, man. But your podcast reminds me that showing up matters, even when nobody claps. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks again, Terrence." All right, Terrence, brother, I see you and you are not alone. Real fathers may be unappreciated, but we're never unnecessary. We just aren't. And again, I keep talking to real fathers. I've spoken briefly about my situation with my biological dad, and I can't consider him a real father. It's a person who still to this day just has not stepped up to take ownership. I'm talking to the real fathers and real fathers out there that just go through it all, right? They take it with a smile on their face at the end of the day and struggle and tears and what they say, blood, sweat, and tears, right? They put in the work and they keep reaching out to their children and they try to be involved as much as they can. And yeah, sometimes they do deal with ex-spouses that poison their child's minds, and make them out to be deadbeats when in reality they aren't. But you also have, the other side of the coin where you have deadbeat dads that mom talk nicely about them because they don't want to poison their children's minds about their father. But yeah, you do have those deadbeats that never step up from day one. They just, either they're scared or they just don't want the responsibility. They love the title. They love saying I'm a dad and I have kids and I'm a father and expect the, calls or gifts on Father's Day, but all year they're not what they claim to be, right? They're not the title that they carry, a father. So if you're a father listening to this right now, know this. You matter, even if they don't say it. Your efforts mean something, even if they go unseen. And your leadership, silent or not, is the blueprint your children will one day lean on, even if it's subconsciously. Right? They say that as fathers, we need to set the example of what our daughters will accept in a man in the future. And to our sons, we set the example of what a man should be to a woman. So keep that in mind also. So if this episode hit home, make sure to follow us on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find us at Grit on the Rocks. Subscribe, share, drop us a review. If you got a story or a perspective, visit gritontheRocks.com and submit it for our next Whiskey Bar Wisdom, Barstool Banter Hero of the Day. Or again, if you just want to send us a shout out or a suggestion for the show, you just have a story you want to share, we'll gladly read it. So until next time, gentlemen, stay gritty, stay grounded. Never stop being the man your kids can count on. Remember to keep your spirits high, your cigars lit, your glasses full, and your conversations meaningful. This is Grit on the Rocks podcast. I am your host, David. Until next time, cheers.
Grit on the rocks tonight, met with hearts like iron bars, tackling life's endless fight, scars becoming stars, diving deep into the void, working dreams like candy, family bonds sometimes destroyed, like they always handy. Real men, real issues here, facing fears like storms at sea. Truth is all we hold dear, weakness set free. Help a battle we all share, fitness built with grit and sweat. Life ain't always fair, don't you dare forget. Challenges rise like mountains tall, through the haze we crawl alone. Echoes in the empty hall, our struggles carved in stone. Voices lost in a loud cruel, but we rise and scream our names. Swords of truth forever hurled in this podcast game. Health a battle we all share, fitness built with grit and sweat. Life ain't always fair, don't you dare forget. Health a battle we